Hello my She-Hulk fans, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris, episode 5 of She-Hulk is now dropped, and with it here, it is time for me to give you my breakdown reaction, tell you what I thought of this latest episode of She-Hulk, point out some Easter eggs you might have missed, and well, just continue to piss off the people who watch these breakdowns but hate She-Hulk with a passion. Last week I got a comment saying, stop starting your videos by saying, She-Hulk fans, there are no She-Hulk fans. Why are you watching every breakdown, man? Either way, for you guys who actually have some valid criticisms or great things to say about the show, leave them down below. With episode 5, I could definitely see there being a lot of people who feel kind of underwhelmed by this episode, calling it a filler episode, and while I totally wouldn't disagree with you, as someone who's actually being very entertained by this show, is enjoying it week to week, I found this to be a nice little comfort episode. Sure, maybe not a whole lot went on other than She-Hulk getting her costume by the end that we'll see next episode. This was a real test to see if you're a genuine fan of She-Hulk or you were just in it to see all the cameos and Easter eggs week to week, which if you are, I don't blame you. That stuff is exciting. We all jumped in down at the end of this episode, but I found myself genuinely interested in She-Hulk's struggle here of trying to get her name back, even though it was a name she didn't want. Also, the little side mission involving Nikki and Pug. Like, I actually like these side characters. They were fun to see. So filler episode or not, this was still an enjoyable time for me. Sure, it's not going to be the best episode, but I don't think this was bottom of the barrel by the least. I'm still giving that to you, Transforming Elf. Either way, diving straight into episode 5, we start off here with Jen cooking in her kitchen and then seeing a commercial for a Titania product named after She-Hulk. Now, like I said in last week's episode, I was really curious to see how the MCU was going to handle this kind of story because I've always found it fascinating that there is merchandise for Avengers in the MCU, that you can buy Ant-Man stuff, Iron Man stuff, and I always wondered who owned the rights to that and who gets money from that. I would assume maybe Tony Stark, being the businessman, having all these Avengers, would take care of those things. And although it isn't entirely addressed, specifically here for She-Hulk, they make a good case for why she would want her name back. It wasn't just a case of Jennifer Walters being annoyed that Titania is trying to ruin her life and get revenge after what happened in the first episode, which, fun fact, that fight with Titania and She-Hulk was supposed to end with a punch to the vag, and Disney cut it because they thought it went too far. Disney, we're way past that now that you put her twerking on screen. I want someone punching the vag by the end of the season. But I also dug even how this was affecting her work life, with her boss saying, well, we hired She-Hulk to be the face of our company, and now that the name is out there being used for cosmetic products and all this other stuff, it could affect our business and firm, so we need to take care of it. To me, this was also the most bearable Titania was throughout the other episodes, because I wasn't a big fan of them making her like this social media influencer superhero. Titania is supposed to be She-Hulk's big main nemesis, but now I'm starting to see what they do with this different route, because it's not just going to be about them punching and fighting each other. Titania is trying to fight on her level with some legal precedent by suing her. So in that way, they kind of are making Titania work for me, and we've seen from other little trailers is that they will be fighting eventually, at least a little bit. The other thing about this episode that I kind of enjoyed is Nikki and Pug's little side quest. Pug is still turning out to be probably one of my favorite side characters of She-Hulk, even the way he described how he buys his shoes.
Why do you need 2 pairs?
One to rock and one to stock.
I respect you, Pug. The show genuinely had me chuckling a couple of times with the knockoff Avengers merch that I bet you Marvel probably now has trademarked those knockoff Avenger names to try and ward off other knockoffs that are happening in real life. It's a smart move here, Marvel. I see what you're doing. You didn't get one past me. All of this eventually leading us to the Edna mode for the MCU, the man who is tailor-making the suits for the more street-level characters that probably can't do it on their own. And in fact, this whole situation not only addressed how She-Hulk will finally be getting her kind of superhero outfit that's been teased in promotional art and whatnot, it's also addressing something that has been bothering me with She-Hulk every time I see her on screen, and it's just that she looks so awkward with her business suits. And the show, I guess, was doing it on purpose so that we get to a place where someone is making her superhero suits that she could wear to work. We also got another appearance from Todd, who's the Tony Stark wannabe that I am still believing that he's somehow behind the wrecking crew that went after Jennifer Walters, but nothing exactly said in this conversation gave him away as maybe a further villain, just an annoyance to Jennifer Walters in her life that did spark the idea to bring back her Tinder dates to prove she was using the name She-Hulk in her personal life. This again was another situation I actually found really smart. While the legal stuff hasn't really been going that smooth in She-Hulk, I wish it was maybe a little more detailed or believable. I did like how they tied this into the previous episodes and bringing those dates back, and heck, I'm even gonna say I think She-Hulk is handling some of those more serious moments a lot better than some of the current MCU movies. You guys all know how I felt about Thor: Love and Thunder and how it was just a continuous joke fest with no room for serious moments to breathe. Here I think it was pretty painful for She-Hulk just to hear over and over, date after date, how they didn't like her, or kind of worse, to just relive that pain from the one guy she actually liked and him saying, I just don't like Jennifer Walters, I prefer She-Hulk. And the show literally lets you breathe with that settling in and us seeing the look of She-Hulk's face without some random joke popping in within 3 seconds.
Look, I don't mean to be rude, but no. She's, not really my type. But She-Hulk, She-Hulk's incredible. She's amazing.
That's something I think not a lot of people are going to give She-Hulk credit to, just because some of the previous episodes have been very goofy and maybe sometimes cheesy, but this is the balance in MCU humor and levity that I miss. Still, they wanted to end this episode with teasing you to make sure you come back next week, because this was the calm before the storm. We get a little peek of the yellow Daredevil helmet with a note saying, for pickup, letting us know next week Matt Murdock is coming to LA for whatever reason, and that could be a great explanation for why he decides to change up his suit. Same way with like Spider-Man when he went from New York to London. He wore a different suit just because he wouldn't want people to know that Peter and Spider-Man were off in the same location. So maybe Charlie Cox's Daredevil thinks the same thing. I can't wear my traditional red suit to LA when everybody knows Matt Murdock as a lawyer took a trip to LA. Let me switch it up and wear some yellow. Either way, super pumped for that episode next week. It was sucks that we didn't get a post-credit scene this time, even as a little joke, because I kind of wanted to see Pug actually have his Iron Man 3s in hand, but we did get them in the credits through a little picture that gives us a wild amount of Easter eggs, mainly Marvel characters being turned into shoes. We're going to go through each one, but I do want to say I think these are just small minor Easter eggs. We shouldn't take them as like a big confirmation that the Thing, Deadpool, or other people are out there. So with that said, going from the top row to the bottom, I gotta be honest, I don't even know who this first shoe is. Maybe it's Miss Marvel, but there's another shoe in here that could be the Captain Marvel shoe. Then we got Hawkeye, the purple in the H, give it away. Really have no idea who this could be. It looks like a generic shoe that you could actually buy, just some brown and orange. This one I think is an obvious one. It's a Doctor Strange sneaker. You could tell by the emblem and the colors. Another one that I'm kind of stumped on and don't really have an idea on who it could be. Then we got ourselves a Hulk shoe, pretty clear with the two colors. They even give a little fur at the top of the rim for Hulk's hair. The next one might stump some people, but it's a character popping up later in the show. This is going to be the Frogman sneakers. Next up, we got the Wolverine sneakers, or at least that's what I'm assuming, just from the color palette. Maybe these shoes are Cable from X-Men, but again, not 100% certain on that. Obviously, Captain America sneakers there, not too hard to tell. This one might be a little troublesome for some people, but the flames and the chain, Ghost Rider. We have some Nova sneakers. You could tell by the 3 little dots that connect together. That's the Nova Core. An all yellow shoe. Oh, your guess is as good as mine there. Here, this one might stump some people, but it's the X-Men character Bishop. At least I'm assuming so, with the M right there and the color palette. This could also maybe be Miss Marvel. Then we got some rock and blue shoes. Obviously there, that's the Thing. We got the ones that are making everybody crazy, Deadpool. These right here are kind of a giveaway through the little angel wings on the side. That's some Namor shoes. We know that character's coming into the MCU pretty soon. This one here, they threw in some villain shoes because these are Green Goblin. I think you can kind of tell from the little pumpkin at the top of the sneaker. I gotta be honest with you, I don't know who the heck this shoe... Oh, never mind. It's the Vision. The colors aren't exactly the same to the MCU counterpart, but that is the comic book colors, and you have the little diamond on the head. We have a green and yellow one with a lightning bolt. That could be Electro, another Spider-Man villain. These, I think, are obviously the Captain Marvel shoes from the little star emblem. These I would definitely rock night and day. These Cyclops shoes with the visor. clean. Spider-Man shoes here, that's a giveaway with the little spider. Some Black Panther shoes, you could tell from the little necklace around the edges. And here what looks like to be some Moon Knight shoes. That was a fun little Easter egg. I wish they could have shown that in real life. I would have loved to have seen these shoes actually as the post-credit. Nevertheless, I want to hear from you guys though. Episode 5 of She-Hulk, I know it was a somber, slow episode. If you call it a filler, I don't blame you. But if you're someone who enjoyed this, let me know also. What did you like about it? Are you excited for next week for Matt Murdock to come in? Anything, everything, be sure and like, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.